don't actually live in my ward, I live in hands. But actually, I did make clear that you blocked us in.
Yeah.
And because we can't go that way now to get out because of the LTN, and we can't go that way to get out. And actually, there was some listening, and everybody on my estate got exemptions. So if we can make sure that we get your point across, and we get that through, if there is something there that actually is stopping you getting through, I mean, there are some people on my estate that have garages that don't live here, and they've got exemptions as well to access their garages. So there is flex on that. And in terms of my view, and Father Joe knows, I mean, Father Joe finds this all hilarious, really, because Father Joe and me used to go protesting quite a lot together. And so the fact that I'm now on the other side of a protest, he finds very funny, and probably just turning up just to wind me up most of the time. But you have a right to protest. We live in a democratic country. We're all socialists, but we're also democratic socialists. This is a free country. If you're not happy about something, you can come to full council, you can sign a petition, you can go wherever you need to go, and you can be here today.
But this is another thing. When I spoke to you via Twitter, which you're amazing on, and I said I'd been with Father Joe, and straight away you went from St John Vianney. Thanks for feeding that back. Also, my friends that own the funeral undertakers, Melville and Daughters, straight away, oh, Jackie, are they having problems? They're a funeral undertakers. As you know, you went to see them, and he called me and said, my God, I don't know how you've done that. I said, it's not anything I've done, but she listens, and you do listen, and then you act. You might not always be able to solve it, but there's a big difference in being listened to and then being like a voice that...
So I hope you feel that me and Mike coming here today and all the officers were listening. And I think what I'm hearing from you, Jackie, my husband's getting bored of listening to all of this good stuff about me.
I think he's quite impressive.
It's not. And I'm conscious that we're going to have to do one last round of debate. Can I just say that I think what we're hearing from you is you want more engagement and more communication, and that's something we need to take back.
The exemptions, when you say the exemptions, what does that entail? Does that entail the number of your car is you don't get fined when you go to a light?
Correct. When you go through the barrier, your number is registered.
Your number, actually, you don't get tickets.
Yes.
So there is a number, so we'll make sure that you get there's a phone number, so you can do it online, but there is actually a dedicated number. So if you've got questions about it or difficulty filling in the exemption or knowing if you apply, then they can help you on the phone as well. So make sure.
My last request is, could you please get some of the electric things so they can charge their cars in black foil?
So that yes, so that came up. I mean, secure bike storage, people being able to afford a bike, and EV charging. Absolutely. In fact, so whereabouts
Black Foil Lane, across there.
Yeah. We're massively ramping up the amount that we're installing. So we are putting in hundreds of new EV charging points, and we're also putting in dozens of new secure cycle parking. I absolutely take your point. That's
so
a
does
really
it cost
good
a
point.
fortune?
But I think there's a really good point about having proper hubs where there are.
But it needs to be affordable for all levels of the
community. And we're doing an affordable bike scheme so that we can get loads of people.
For storage as well. So you don't want to have storage, and then you can only put in your.
Since I've got the mic, in my capacity as a local resident rather than seeing as husband, I'll ask you a question. Just in terms of the traffic in the immediate vicinity, just a practical suggestion. Obviously there's an issue with the volume of traffic down West Green Road and Belmont at the moment, but it seems to me that it's been exacerbated because a lot of it is queuing up to try and turn right whilst there's oncoming traffic in the other direction. So I'm not a highways engineer, but is it possible to put a filter on the traffic light to enable people to turn right more easily on the junction of Belmont and West Green, so that it can in both directions? I think that would stop some of the traffic queuing up.
Really good question, and absolutely. So as I said at the beginning, we're looking at immediate tweaks because, like you say, I mean, basically these are chronic problems. We've had these problems like on West Green Road and Belmont for a very long time. But this has exacerbated it, it has made it worse, shone a light on it, and we've gone, okay, we have to do something about it now, whether we have an LTN or not, actually, frankly. So those ideas, and we're working, our engineers are working with TfL, looking at sequencing lights, looking at box junctions, looking at how to basically make sure that the traffic that is there, that's always going to be there, by the way, is going to be able to move smoothly. And if it can move smoothly with this scheme, then even without it, it will move even more smoothly. Well, actually, the reality is, of course, we want the traffic to come down, and if it does come down, and we make these tweaks, then we will see that traffic moving better than it is now.
If you open Downhills Park Road as well,
and
there's a roundabout at the end, so it wouldn't be stopped by traffic lights, but then they could go down. People who are going left could go down there and go left, and there's no traffic lights stopping the flow, which would also make more sense.
I think that needs to go.
So you'd have two roads coming down rather than having that one down Belmont Road holding all of that traffic. But it's just not pleasant to walk down. And also for safety, I would feel safer walking along Downhills Park Road because there's a lot of such side streets. It's a long way to walk when you're living at the top of there, to walk on your own in the dark at night. I'm a mum of a girl as well, so there's two of us, and she's scared. She's like, Mum, I don't like it, I don't like it. It's just not pleasant.
Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear, and that is also a good suggestion, and it's something that our engineers are actually looking at.
So I think George has the last word.
Yeah, I think
I'm absolutely free, but you're going to have the last word.
because I'm suffering from hypothermia.
Well, we have to realise the car is with us, will always be with us. Why don't the council try to look at the problem a different way? I.e. encourage people to buy emission fuel vehicles, stop-start technology, encourage people to buy electric vehicles. The council can initiate schemes, i.e. reduce the permit, reduce this, reduce that, but it's encourage people to buy low-emission vehicles, because you will never ever get rid of the cars, and people will use cars to go to work, to go to hospitals, to go to cinemas and theatres. The council should encourage people to buy low-emission vehicles.
That's all right, sir, if the people have the money.
Look, that's well, we can have some
money. So people haven't got the money.
I would say is,
They just haven't got the money to do it. And there's nowhere for you to charge them. Electric cars are very expensive.
So that is a good point. Look, both of them are good points, and absolutely we are doing what we can, because there are going to be people who will always depend on a car and will need a car, as to make them low emission, zero emission cars and electric, and to facilitate that. And we are doing what we can at the moment. But what I would say is, you've got to remember that actually in this borough, 60%, the vast majority of Haringey residents do not have access to a car, right? So actually the vast majority of residents depend on walking or buses, right? I mean, we want more people to cycle.
Or taxis as well. A lot of the elderly get taxis, and they're getting they're not coming to their house because of the LTNs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it is about making it work for everyone and include people that will need to use a car. So we're not, this is not anti-car, right? And this is really important. It's just about going, there was a historic 3 decades problem of congestion, growing congestion, right? So more and more people owning cars. So even if they're EV, if everyone got an EV car, there would still be a problem with cars. What we need to do is reduce car use to necessary journeys. Right? And if we do that, and that's what this is all about, reducing it to necessary journeys. And if we do that, then the people that need their car will be able to drive around fine and go, we're not stuck in traffic, we're on my screen road and it's fine. And that's what we're trying to get to.
But how do you know? Sorry, how do you know that the ones that you're seeing on roads aren't necessary? I don't get this kind of thing that you've decided that a lot of them aren't necessary. How do you know that?
Well, number one, there's been studies and surveys. So, for instance, TfL did a really extensive survey, I think in 2017, which the results of which showed that 4 out of 6 journeys are under 2 kilometres in distance.
That was
right? So
5 years ago, though.
Yeah, but exactly. When the problem with traffic has been growing for 20 years, it's not something that's really arrived. And 4 out of 6 journeys were for under 2 kilometres, right? So 2 kilometres isn't very far, right? So a lot of those